So, you're buying a home. It's supposed to be one of the most exciting times of your life, right? But let's be real for a second. The whole process of actually closing the deal can feel like you're navigating a maze of paperwork, weird jargon, and worst of all, potential hidden costs. It's confusing, and honestly, it can be super stressful. Just picture it. You're finally there at the closing table. You're about to sign that last piece of paper, and bam! You get hit with thousands of dollars in fees you had no idea were coming. It feels totally unfair, doesn't it? Well, for decades, that was the sad reality for a lot of American home buyers. And this wasn't just a feeling people had. It was a real system-wide problem. In fact, the U.S. Congress itself found that the whole closing process was filled with, and I'm quoting the law itself here, unnecessarily high settlement charges and abusive practices. Something had to give. And so, something did change. Back in 1974, Congress passed a landmark law to clean up the entire industry and protect people like you and me. It's called RESPA, the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. All right, so let's dive into what this thing actually does for you. The law's mission is crystal clear. It's all about making sure that you, the consumer, get information about closing costs that's timely and easy to understand. And just as important, it's there to protect you from shady practices that are designed to unfairly jack up those costs. So the law really breaks down into 4 big goals. First, give you a clear heads up on costs. Second, get rid of those sketchy kickbacks and referral fees. Third, put a limit on how much cash lenders can make you keep in an escrow account. And fourth, this one's a bit more behind the scenes, to modernize how land titles are recorded. For the next few minutes, we're really going to zero in on how those first 2 directly empower you. Okay, let's start with transparency. RESPA basically established your fundamental right to know exactly what you're paying for. No more mystery fees. A key tool for this was the Uniform Settlement Statement, which you'd probably know today as the closing disclosure. Before this, closing costs were often a total mess. RESPA said, nope, we're going to have a standard government form that breaks down every single charge, line by line. No more hiding fees in the fine print. I mean, think about what a game changer this was. Before this law, you might not see the final bill until the very last second. Now the law says that statement has to be available for you to look at or before the closing. This gives you time to actually review it, ask questions, and spot any mistakes. That's a huge shift of power back to you. But RESPA goes even further. It's not just about giving you forms, it's about education. The law requires lenders to hand you a special information booklet that explains the whole shebang in plain English. It breaks down what each cost is for, how to read that settlement form, and crucially, what unfair practices you should be looking out for. Now, transparency is only half the battle. The second pillar of RESPA was to actively ban the bad behavior that was costing homebuyers so much money in the first place. And the number one target? Kickbacks. Here's what that means. A kickback is when somebody, say a real estate agent or a lender, gets a thing of value, like cash or a gift, just for steering your business to a specific company. They didn't do any actual work for it. This whole practice just inflates your costs, because that kickback money ultimately comes out of your pocket. And RESPA puts some serious teeth into this rule. Violating the anti-kickback rule isn't just a little slap on the wrist. It can lead to fines of up to $10,000, and even prison time. Suddenly, these abusive practices got a whole lot riskier. RESPA also protects your right to choose your own providers. For instance, a seller can't make the sale of the house conditional on you using their favorite title insurance company. You have every right to shop around for title insurance and pick the one that's best for you. And what happens if a seller breaks that rule? Well, they are on the hook for a massive penalty. They have to pay you back 3 times the entire cost of that title insurance. That's a pretty huge incentive for sellers to play by the rules, don't you think? So RESPA protects you during the whole home buying process, but its job isn't done once you get the keys. It also has really important rules that protect you for the entire life of your mortgage. You know, it's pretty common for your mortgage to be sold to a new company that'll handle collecting your payments. RESPA sets up a really clear timeline for communication, so you're never left in the dark. Your old servicer has to tell you at least 15 days before the switch happens, and your new servicer has to contact you within 15 days after it's done. And what if you think your new servicer made a mistake on your account? You have the right to send them what's called a qualified written request. Once they get it, a clock starts ticking. They have 20 days to acknowledge your letter and 60 days to either fix the error or explain their side of the story. And here's the best part. During that 60-day window, they can't report that disputed payment to the credit bureaus and mess with your score. So, after 50 years, what's the big takeaway here? Why does this law from 1974 still matter so much to anyone buying a home today? It all comes down to this. RESPA levels the playing field. It empowers you with transparency, giving you the information you need to make smart choices. It protects you from those shady practices that are designed to rip you off. And it holds lenders and servicers accountable, both during the closing and for decades after. And this accountability is backed by real money. As we've seen, whether it's a $10,000 fine for kickbacks or that triple damages penalty for forced title insurance, these rules have teeth. They make sure your rights as a homebuyer are not just suggestions, they are the law. For 50 years, RESPA has acted like a shield for homebuyers, turning a confusing and often predatory process into a much fairer one. It's a powerful reminder of how smart rules can protect us during life's biggest financial moments. But markets and technology are always changing, which leaves us with a big question. What will the next 50 years of consumer protection need to look like?